Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy. And welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Wow, today I've got an interesting topic. It looks like September is the month of the 1st. Because as you guys recall, last week, I interviewed my good friend, Jennifer Flynn. It was the first time ever that someone had asked a guest that I had on my show a question. So we decided to answer those questions live on create a show of the questions that were asked of it. So and it was the first time I had a return guest as well. So this month is the first. This month is the month of the 1st, because today's episode is the first time I'm going to have an episode based on a question that someone has, on the book that I have, 7 Steps to Recession Proofing Your Business. Someone actually purchased the book, must have found me somehow and seen that I had a podcast and posed a question. So there you have it. So that's what I'm going to answer today. Before I get to the topic at hand, well, first of all, let me tell you the topics. That way we at least know what we're going to be talking about here. Is 4 ways to identify and develop your USP, your unique selling proposition. So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into that and the question that was asked, I just want to do a couple of housekeeping stuff, like always. I want to ask you if you have any questions about any tactic or strategy that we talk about here on the show, or if you have something that you're struggling with, or you want us to talk about something on the show that you've heard about on your networking or whatever it is, reach out to us, 888-416-7752, or send us an email, info@lbmsllc.com, and we will address your concern on one of the shows. Another thing I would ask you to do is, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you have something that you want to put out, you said, I have, I'm promoting a book, I'm promoting a new service, and I would like to tap into your audience, if you will, or if you just want to just be on the show and get interviewed, who knows? I'll do the same thing, 888-416-7752, or send us an email at info@lbmsllc.com. Someone will reach out to you and schedule you in for the show. Last bit of housekeeping items is this. I just love doing this podcast. It's really fun for me. I love giving you guys great content. And if you've been thinking about doing the same thing, there are a plethora of different hosts out there, but I want you guys to give Buzzsprout a look-see. Buzzsprout is an awesome podcast host that gives you a lot of unique tools to easily distribute your content to the major directories. I'm talking about Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on and on and on. Not only that, they give you a website that you can, start promoting your your podcast to, and they give you ways to actually promote your website, your podcast to the masses. They've actually helped over 100,000 people start promote and launch their podcast. So they know what they're doing. I would love for you to give them a shout. So if you've been thinking about starting your own podcast, give them a shout. There's a link in this show notes, which will, send you to their website. And when you do, and maybe you initiate a free trial or whatever, you are going to be given a $25 gift card or gift certificate from Amazon. And that's just a way of them saying thank you for checking us out. Also, it's going to tell them that we sent you. So Buzzsprout, the absolute best and easy way to start a podcast. All right. Awesome. Now that we've got that out of the way, I want to address, this is a gentleman by the name of Gerard Bears from Jacksonville, Florida. Apparently, first of all, Gerard, thank you for buying my book. Seems like you got a lot out of it, but you had a couple of questions and concerns about the USPs, because I talk about USP in the book. And it seems your question is this, you've never had any success with a USP. Is there any other tips you can give us around that? All right, so here is Gerard. First of all, before I answer this question, I want to address a few things, and I want to give you 4 ways to identify and develop your USP. Okay. But before I even go to that, let me address something, because I don't think you really understand why it's necessary. And the way I'm reading your question is I don't think you see the importance. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put yourself in your customer's shoes. See, sometimes there are too many choices, making it difficult for you to know who to trust with your hard-earned money. Okay, so put yourself in your customer's shoes. That's how they're thinking. So, do you choose the first option to pop up in a Google search? If you're, I don't know what service business you are, or if you're in a product business. I'm not sure. You didn't read it listed here on the question. I mean, you didn't say, you say where you're from and what was your question. So I can't help you in that. But ask yourself, do you choose the first option to pop up on your Google search? Or when doing a research, do you choose the company that will add value and that its competitors can't add? Think about that. I'll give you an example. I went to, this was several years ago, by the way. I had to get a new roof for my house that I had when I was living in Potomac, Maryland. This is way before I moved here to the great state of New Jersey. Anyway, I had to get a new roof, and I got a whole bunch of people answer when I was doing a search. I just kept reaching out to a bunch of them. I got people following up with me all the time. The only reason why I went with the company that I ended up going with is because they were able to show me the value of working with them versus the others. Okay. So that's what I wanted to point out on this one. Now, understandably, your business's USP is vital because it shows the customer why you're the right company to choose, and in what ways you're different and better than the competitor. And that's what they did. They showed me why they were better for me as an individual. Now, they may not be better for for some other people who did the same search on that same day or on different days or whatever, right? But they were better for me because their USP was aligned to what my need was at the time. So that's the trick with the USP, okay? And it's very difficult to understand. So I'm going to go, this episode is probably not going to be a very long episode because it's just going to be directly pointed to your question, Gerard. But so I told you I was going to give you 4 ways to identify and develop your USP. Okay, so I'm going to, I hope I gave you a good start on how to, start thinking about aligning that stuff. Okay, I hope that story helped. But here's the number one way. Okay, you want to conceptualize your business and the competition. Before you can develop a USP, folks, and Gerard directly, but everyone else listening to this, because I'm sure other people have the same question, you are going to need to spend some time brainstorming. I talk about this in the book as well, okay? Ask yourself and write this stuff down. What makes your company unique? What your ideal customers' pain points? What are their pain points? And we all know this because we're in business. How does your service or product address those problems? See, if you're struggling to figure out what makes your company, your service or your service unique, just throw down ideas whether or not you assume them to be good ideas. Just throw them out. Just keep this do a brain dump. Okay, that's very important. See, you might find that your business is unique for some seemingly insignificant reason. Like the way you interact with your customers, let's say. Your commitment to community service. The simplicity of your pricing. Or even, just your methods of production, of your methods of service, of delivering the service. List those things. You may think that it's simple. See, your next step is to research the competition and compare what they're offering to the list of ideas that you've just compiled. Bam! I just gave you a huge nugget there. Okay? So, do you see any differentiations? Or are you offering something that they're not? Look at their ads, their social media presence, their website, their offerings. Ask yourself, in what way can we set ourselves apart from them? Ask yourself this stuff. You're going to come up with that USP, Gerard, and everyone else who's listening. I don't want to make this just about Gerard, but since he asked the question, I'm keep pointing him out. You understand? So that's key. This is key to conceptualize your business and the competition. Very, very important. That's number one. Number two, you want to narrow your audience and speak to them directly. Okay? I don't talk about this in the book because the book wasn't really about this. So I did talk about, the number one thing was I did talk about in the book, and it's more even more details on the book. I even give you examples in the book. So if anyone out there haven't gotten the book, I I invite you to get it. It's a free copy on my website. Okay. But here's some things I don't talk about. I want you to narrow your audience and speak to them directly. This will might make you nervous. But hear me out, okay? Determining your target audience makes marketing to them much easier. Trust me, super, super easier. See, in other words, you know who you're talking to. You'll know, just what to say because you're narrowing down your audience, right? Think about the customers who would benefit most from your services, and sell just to them, but make sure that your marketing focus is setting your business apart in their eyes. You see, just like that company, that roofing company, that's what they did. They set them apart just on my eyes, I saw them and I got like 5 companies that came through, folks. That's a lot. And there was some more that kept calling. But they knew what they were doing. They knew how to set, because they knew what their USP was. They knew I was their ideal customer. But let me give you some examples about setting apart, because this is a key element too. And again, I don't talk about this in the book. For example, if you know that your target audience is frustrated by, say, confusing pricing or expensive add-ons, or speak to or all of this kind of stuff, confusing stuff, you're gonna speak to their pain point. And you have to explain how your pricing is never changing with no extra charges or hidden charges or something like that. And I'm giving you a small example so you can understand, because I don't know what your issue is. So your USP should directly correlate to the needs or the frustrations of this audience, which makes differentiation much easier. Okay, so that's real simple. Number 3, you want to make your USP your motto. And I do talk about this in the book. So to give you a little bit more details, and for those of you who have not gotten the book, you want to work on paring down your USP into short, memorable phrase, and your audience can, latch onto it. Okay, if it's short and memorable, they'll latch onto it. Then center everything that you do around this messaging. Put it in your ads, your email campaigns, your website, and your social media. You want to embody this uniqueness in your relationship and communication with your customers. Very important. So remember that. That's step number 3. Number 4, last but not least, you want to focus on repetition. See, now that you've got your USP, folks, and it's defined and pared down into a effective model, make this messaging the focal point of your marketing campaigns. If you're doing a good job of conveying your USP through all of your customer facing messaging, your customers should be able to tell others that makes you what makes you stand out. So don't just be unique, okay? Tell your audience how you're unique. It's all about communicating that same message over and over again until your USP becomes synonymous with your business name. It's like Nike, just do it, or something. I forgot what Nike's thing was, but you see what I'm saying? It's just repetition. Uniqueness, you folks, sells. Your uniqueness sells. Your USP sets you apart from your competition. And that means more sales, period. See, your customers begin to see that choosing you means, they'll get value that they can't get anywhere else. Like the roofing thing that I was telling you about. You're sure to keep them coming back for more and more and more for years to come, depending on your business model. I don't know what your business model is, but if you do this correctly, and if you have one of those businesses that you have repeat customers coming back for more and more and more all the time, guaranteed you're going to blow it up. Okay. So I hope that this answers your question, Gerard. And if you're still having problems with this, or if anyone out there that's listening and having problems with this, you know how to get a hold of us. 888-416-7752. Send us an email at info@lbmsllc.com, and we'll handle it for you. Okay. So anyway, so that's it for today's episode. I know it's not a very long episode, but I wanted to dedicate it to this question because I know how important it is to have a USP that's working for you, because without this, you have nothing. So with that, I am going to bid farewell to this wonderful episode. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, folks, and bye for now. Till next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.